Hi everybody, I'm Quinn Pettifer. My preferred pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm the manager of brand initiatives with the Gazette. I also serve on the editorial board. That's my full-time gig. And in my community life, I'm a community liaison for several different groups, including Inclusive ICR, which I get to work with Erin and several other folks here on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And I'm going to have Chelsea introduce herself here. Go ahead, Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm Chelsea Greider. I'm the events planner here at the Gazette. To Quinn's point, that is my full-time gig as well. And so that's kind of what I do, but I come from the wedding world. I still do full event wedding planning, all those good things, full day of coordinations. And also my background is in agriculture. So I'm still heavily involved in that. I always say I'm the black sheep of the family. I kind of do lots of different things. But absolutely is super excited to be here. Came on the team actually June of 2020 in the midst of COVID, and really had to pivot what we all did at events with the Gazette. So super excited to be here and all those good things like that. Excited to talk about Iowa ideas.
So two things. One, Chelsea is you just heard, she's got a variety of background and history, which is awesome because that's what Iowa Ideas is all about. We'll get into that in a little bit. I love sharing the story of when Chelsea arrived. We were not only going through pandemic, but we were also in the process of moving out of our building that we had occupied for over 90 years. And big surprise, reporters like to keep stuff. So we had a lot of things to clear out of our building. We're in the process of moving and Chelsea comes in, she's really psyched. I sit down, close the door behind me and I'm like, welcome. We're very excited to have you here. And oh, by the way, basically between now and the end of the year, we've got to reimagine every single event that we're going to be hosting, but we're still going to be doing them. So you can't leave. I already shut the door. You already signed the paperwork. And Chelsea fully embraced it. And especially Iowa Ideas, just taking what could have been a dismissive year actually had a lot of really cool opportunities, especially with Iowa Ideas. And we'll get into that. Second thing is Chelsea and I know that we've arrived in the public speaking circuit because we've been invited to 1 Million Cups Cedar Rapids edition. I have for the last few years, but never Iowa City edition. So when we got the invitation, we were like, my gosh, we could take the show on the road. So, so we hope we do it justice, but we really appreciate you letting us come in and chat with you this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a little bit of background of Iowa Ideas in terms of the history, the concept. I'm going to go through the structure, and then we're going to talk a little bit about 2020. Similar to everybody, took quite a pivot, but also paved way for some new concepts, some new ideas that we're taking with us and carrying into 2021. So at that point, I'm going to hand it over to Chelsea, who's going to get into the nitty-gritty details about what we have planned this year and how everyone here can get involved. So our goal is always by the end of these talks, everybody's on iowaideas.com, everybody's registered, done deal. And it's free. So we'll get to that as well. So, okay, so I'm going to share my screen here if I can. I think I'm able to. So I wanted to talk a little bit about just some of the history and the concept of Iowa Ideas. And you'll notice here that this is not the Iowa Ideas website. This is actually the Texas Tribune Festival website. And I show you this because this is actually where the concept of Iowa Ideas originated from. Texas Tribune Festival has been happening, well over a decade. And concept being there are issues that the state of Texas has been facing, has been working through. There are thought leaders, there are policymakers, there are grassroots champions that want to see and talk through some issues that are impacting their state and want to come together and collaboratively seek solutions that's going to make their state even stronger. So Texas Tribune Festival, actually our executive editor, Zach Kaczarski, had been following some of the work of the Texas Tribune Festival for the last few years. Zach's been with us for 21 years. He literally started as an intern at the Gazette when he was at University of Iowa, and is now our executive editor publisher. Uh, Going to the Texas Tribune Festival sparked a lot of really cool ideas. This particular festival tends to be very politically focused. So a lot of it was focused on policy, but coming back and kind of going through what does this mean? Like, what could we do in the state of Iowa that could have kind of the similar goal to it? And how do we make it happen? So fast forward a year after visiting the Texas Tribune Festival, having some great conversations, some best practices, not only with the festival, but some other issues-based conferences around the country. We got to Iowa Ideas. And we're going to go into some of the structure and a little bit of Iowa Ideas here in just a little bit, but just a sneak peek of what we've got lined up for 2021. So in concept, the big thing that we wanted to bring to the state of Iowa was an opportunity for people of all perspectives to come together and talk through issues. And while that sounds pretty simple in theory, in practice, there's a lot of different issues and there's a lot of different ways to define what tracks or what issues you should zero in on. Everything from education to workforce, healthcare, policy, agriculture, like Chelsea mentioned, infrastructure, community development, human and social services, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So how do you put these different tracks together and have it make sense? One, how do you make it make sense and keep it organized? And then two, how do you present this to Iowans so that they understand that they have a place, they have an opportunity to come together, and you don't necessarily have to have deep knowledge within all 9 tracks. And so that's really where we started, and starting out by mapping out each track. So like, as I mentioned, we have 9 tracks currently, and they are all an opportunity to be able to dive as deep as you want. So within the healthcare track, for example, historically, we're in year 5, by the way. This is our 5th year for the conference. You have the ability to go to nothing but healthcare sessions if you want. Listen to speakers that are national, that are local, people that are policymakers, people that are doers, that are on the ground working in the space. Or if you want, maybe you have a healthcare background, but there's something within energy and environment that sparks your interest. You don't necessarily just have to stick with one track. And that was the most unique piece of Iowa Ideas that we had not seen in a conference in our state to this point, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. So the big concept, like I said, is the fact that we are bringing 9 tracks together within a day and a half, 2 days. You go, you explore the sessions, you decide what schedule you want to have. Maybe it's an energy and environment session here, a workforce session here, a human and social services session there. There's keynotes and featured speakers that are sprinkled in throughout. That's kind of like the all play form of the conference and the conference experience. Then there's also opportunities within the platform to connect with other attendees. That's the other piece, of course, that's the highest priority for us. People that tend to be, and I'm in the healthcare zone, obviously. I know everybody understands why right now, but so, people that are in healthcare, they tend to go to conferences that are focused on healthcare, right? Either it's for their position or it's something that they're passionate about. It's pretty rare that you're going to a conference and diving into something that's within your world, but you simultaneously have the opportunity to connect with somebody that is diving deep into energy and environment, or diving deep into education, diving deep into recruitment and retention efforts when it comes to workforce. And so while we have everyone together for that day and a half, 2 days, we want to give everybody ample opportunity to not only explain who they are, why they're there, what they're excited about experiencing within Iowa Ideas, but also connecting and sharing with people. The other piece of this is the opportunity to plan the event. And again, 9 tracks, Within each track, we have at least 7 sessions, sometimes 8. So you've got roughly, a little over 50 sessions per year per conference. Times that by 4 or 5 panelists and moderators, you got a large number of people that you need to identify and understand what they're doing in the space, and will they be able to present the information in the structure that we have when it comes to a session. And I'll get to that in a little bit. So in order to do that, we have developed advisory councils for each track. Which is fantastic, because as much as our journalists and our team, being a media company, we've got an advantage of being able to dive deep and understand the issues and what's happening in the space at the current time. We understand that we can only know and take in so much. Advisory council members are people that are living and breathing in their space, day in and day out, when it comes to energy and environment, infrastructure, community development, things like cargo, things like what's coming up in the next session. So what we did, and we continue to do every year, is invite a small group. It's usually about between 10 to 15 individuals that are our official advisory councils for each track. Those advisory councils meet with Chelsea, they meet with myself, they meet with Zach. They also meet with a track lead. And a track lead comes from our news division. Again, one of the beautiful things about being a media company, and having journalists and having reporters, is that we've got journalists that are working and constantly tracking what's happening in different kinds of spaces. And so that track lead is now connecting with advisory council members to not only hear about the latest as far as what's happening in, again, the energy and environment space, the infrastructure space, but they are able to help build out what the sessions during the conference should look like, and who, in terms of voices, should be a part of that experience. I'm going to stop right there because, again, some of this just seems like, well, yeah, great. You get some people together, you talk through, you get some experts, and you map it out. But I do want to recognize the fact that for a media company, this is pretty out there. This is still pretty out there for a news division and a news organization for several different reasons. But the biggest one is that journalists tend to not build relationships and build knowledge in this way. They're observers, they're researchers. They're wonderful at their jobs. Their whole commitment is to raise awareness and tell the story of what's happening in their space, in their beat, so that readers are better educated and made aware of the issues. They certainly talk to people that are living and breathing in this space and that have deep knowledge, but it's usually for a specific story, right? There's a deadline. I'm working on this topic. I'm working on this issue. I'm going to reach out to Jay or reach out to Chelsea or Stephanie, and we're going to talk through. I'm going to build the story. And then, maybe down the road, Stephanie, I might, connect with you on another story. But to meet with advisory council members and to build knowledge and build relationships in that way, that is not something that happens naturally overnight, and it is not something that journalists typically dive right into. And so I'm extremely proud of the fact that our news division, one, was willing to even try this concept, and two, how far we've come now in year 5. There are sources, there are stories, there are content that has developed that we never would have been able to bring out to our readers had it not been for the platform of an advisory council and building and meeting, not only during the conference, but all the way leading up to the conference. The other part of this is the fact that we had some lessons learned within the first couple of years. So the first couple of years were in person. They were ticketed events, similar to what you see with the Texas Tribune Festival. You'd pay your admission, you'd go to, the hotel or the event venue, and you sip your coffee and have networking opportunities, and that was fantastic. We knew that people were going to be pleasantly surprised being able to build their own schedule during Iowa Ideas. Again, you're here for one thing, but yet you kind of pick and choose what you want to go to make sure you have your own unique experiences. But the one thing that really surprised us was the fact that we made a lot of assumptions as far as people that were working even in the same space. So someone that was working on something in, I'll just use this example, not a specific and not real, but someone working on a project on water runoff strategies in Ames. Perhaps there's a very similar program that's happening in Davenport or Bettendorf. You just naturally assume that these people know each other, they're aware of what the other person is working on. Turns out 9 times out of 10, most people did not. So even the connections within each track have been amazing to see people that were either, able to connect and kind of troubleshoot as they were working through different projects and different issues. As well as the hybrid model of working and experiencing different tracks. So those are some of the things that that we were able to, have a solid base on. The other thing is the intimidation factor. I think that when an attendee, doesn't matter if you're a policymaker or if you're just, a passionate person that wants to dive deep into a certain sector here, the intimidation factor of Iowa Ideas is eliminated almost instantaneously, because and if you have, let me know, because we would love to talk to you, but it's it's unheard of that one individual has absolute expertise in all 9 tracks. So you're all kind of coming together at a level playing field, as far as you might have deep knowledge in one area, but yet you're opening yourself up to, and there's a little bit of vulnerability there, that there's other tracks, there's other issues that you simply do not have that kind of knowledge, and you're there to learn and you're there to connect with people. So that is the other huge win. When it comes to a session during Iowa Ideas, we follow a pretty specific formula, and we do this for a reason, because when you have 50 plus sessions to go through, you got to keep it somewhat consistent. So when somebody attends a session for Iowa Ideas, you always start with, of course, the topic. What are we here to learn about? We go through the history. So what has this meant for the state of Iowa? Where have we come from to this point? What's the current situation? And that's usually pulled through research or current data, statistics. And then what are the challenges? What are we here to talk about? What are some of the things that are keeping us from being in the ideal state? And that's where the solutions concentration is really important, because some of these issues, it's really easy to keep talking about what's wrong and what we haven't done right. So as a moderator, their role is always to certainly acknowledge and honor what hasn't necessarily happened in the way that we need it to happen, but to keep it future solution focused. And we do that not only for the attendees of the conference, but we also do it from a content perspective, which is called solutions-based journalism. And people that are in the journalism space, I'm sure you've heard of this, but it's a little bit of a different approach to not only discussing, but also writing about some of these issues. So I know I've spent a lot of time on on the back end of this, but I do want to acknowledge 2020. We kind of joked around at the beginning here. 2020, of course, everybody in the event world, Chelsea included, she didn't go running away from us, which was fantastic. We knew that we wanted to have Iowa Ideas in some sort of capacity. So first quarter and even into June, we decided we are still going to have Iowa Ideas. We are going to turn it into a virtual event. We scheduled it for August and decided that we were going to move forward. We had a lot of legwork already done in terms of panelists and speakers. Then derecho hit in August, hit all of us, hit Cedar Rapids, Marion extra hard. So not only was our news division and our track leads distracted from that point on August 10th, but we also needed to figure out if we were going to continue with Iowa Ideas, because the cards were just not in our favor. That thought of suspending Iowa Ideas lasted about an hour. We were literally talking to our team who were working from generators and literally like driving flash drives to our printing press to make sure that the newspaper got out the next day. And we said, we can suspend this? And they're like, absolutely not. Never has there been a more critical time for Iowans to get together and talk about what is happening in our state and how we can make it stronger. We need to do this, and we need to do it in a big way. So with that, we decided to stay virtual. We also made another really big decision to eliminate registration fees. We want this to be an inclusive, truly getting all perspectives. We did not want this to be, no offense here, but we did not want this to be just people that can afford a couple $100s for a ticket. We wanted this to be everybody that wanted to be a part of this and discuss. And so we took away the registration fees. We stayed virtual. We started to put together viewing parties, and what we ended up with was nearly triple attendance of our conference from years past. We had over 1,200 was the official count. However, we know a lot more actually got together and experienced the conference together. So probably much more than that. And we also had probably the most interaction in terms of our attendees and networking with our Whova platform ever before. So that has inspired plans for 2021. And I'm going to hand it over to Chelsea, who's now going to talk through. And Chelsea, I can share my screen if you want me to. Iowa Ideas 2021.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. No, so Quinn nailed it on the history and all the things and what 2020 brought on. But to Quinn's point, I remember that phone call of standing at my parents' farm, and literally grain bin was gone, farm was gone. And I was like, she's like, I think we're still going to do this. I was like, okay, like I'm in, we'll figure it out. It's no big deal. We'll rebuild. We have to rebuild. Like that's what we do. And so, we kind of got together after 2020 conference, and was really my first virtual conference of developing and building and working with the team. Was a really big collective group effort, and how we built that and ran it really successfully, which was awesome. So we always get together right after conference, right? It's just all fresh in our heads and what we can do. Attendees had such great feedback, things they love, things they could change, things that we can improve on, but things that like just new ideas are like, what if we do this? And what if you do this? And all those great things. And so really set us up really well for 2021 and really had that powwow afterwards. And so things that we decided to keep moving into the October Iowa Ideas Full Conference, 2 things, free again, so fully accessible to all. Free again, ticket sales aren't a thing right now. We really wanted to remove that barrier and keep that barrier away. We saw that this was such a cool opportunity for people to come together in a collective way without having to pay $100, $200 and really have a voice in a space that they probably had never had a voice in before. So that was really something we really wanted to keep. And we had amazing sponsors that got behind that and said, yes, like this worked, it worked well, let's do this again. So that was really great. Shout out to our sponsors. We also wanted to keep it virtual, which was kind of a new thing, right? 2020 really, I always say it was a weird blessing in disguise for the event world, because it really made us event planners really think outside the box and get creative of 1, how to get people involved, 2, how to get, new ideas out there, but 3, also to, keep our sanity, and how do we make it all work in a really cool way. And so that virtual aspect really made me think outside the box and really get creative of how we can build this, but still network and let people communicate and do these great things, but also connect with these panelists that they probably have never been able to connect with before. So that was one thing as well. We decided as a team, we were like, okay, we're going to keep it 100% virtual. We'll see what it does and keep moving forward. And we've had such positive feedback, again, from attendees, from panelists from last year, even new panelists that I'm currently getting lined up right now that love the fact that we're keeping it virtual and keep moving forward. We had such a great group of panelists last year that we probably would have never got if we were in person. We had the derecho recovery session last year, which was really cool. And we had a panelist, it was about trees, in all honesty. And we had a panelist that was from Canada that she was amazing, and we would have never got in person. And so that was something really cool. We had such different panelists from all over the States and international, which was fantastic. So those are kind of the 2 things that we decided to keep. Also, the third thing is obviously the tracks. So Quinn kind of nailed them on the head. So we have everything from community development, workforce policy, human and social services, all those great things with diversity, equity, and inclusion sprinkled throughout the entire, all 8 of those tracks. So that's kind of throughout the entire conference as well. Still a day and a half. So it starts at 8:30 on Thursday, runs till actually 5:30. And then Friday is kind of a good half day, I always say. So again, starts at 8:30, and then we'll kind of wrap up at 1:15 with our big ideas conversation block, which I will get to as well. So kind of some really cool things that we've added this year to Iowa Ideas. And if you guys have been involved, is actually we wanted to take some really cool tracks, really cool sessions that we've had, in the big conference that, right, we only get an hour for. So for example, I'm gonna use this because we did this, was water quality. And so water quality is such an interesting topic in energy and environment that we only got 1 hour for. So we kind of sat down as a team and we're like, okay, let's take this session and let's build a week-long discussion about it, from keynote opportunities to a full week of just talking about water quality and what we can do better. So we did 3 of these throughout the year. The first one was actually higher education. We had the president from Iowa State, the president from University of Iowa. We had Mary Sue Coleman as well, who was a keynote. It was a fantastic first one we had back in March. Our second one was in June, which was water quality, focus on water quality as well. Had a really, really great panelists and sessions and keynotes. And then actually our third one that Quinn just pulled up is All Eyes on Workforce. It actually is at the end of September. And so what we're doing right now is kind of getting all that wrapped up before a big conference, but it's a week-long discussion, all eyes on workforce, right? Workforce is a hot topic right now, just getting people back into the workforce, what we can do better. So as you can see, they're always an hour, they're over the noon hour. And so I totally, again, this is free, recommend getting involved. We have some really great panelists, again, from all over the United States that are getting involved in this as well. And really coming together in a really great and kind of in-depth week. So we took those 3 and that's kind of where we moved. That was one new thing we added. The other thing that we've kind of added throughout and really have kind of dive into is viewing parties throughout the state as well. So this is, getting public libraries, colleges, communities together where they have viewing parties in one location, really get together and celebrate Iowa Ideas as a group, have those in-depth conversations that maybe, we would like to do in person, but we can't, but you can do it in your communities with, people that are right there local, that want to get together and talk about a session that they just watched together and like what they can take from that session and move forward in their community with. So that's one thing that Quinn and I are really working on hard right now, is building those viewing parties as well throughout the state and really coming well together. I'm going to talk about keynotes because Miss Peggy Whitson's at the top of my screen. We've had some really great keynote opportunities as well as staying virtual. First one I'm going to use, right, she's at the top of my screen, is Miss Peggy Whitson. Obviously, she's a former NASA astronaut, female space station commander. I always joke, and it's not a pun intended, but she is the most down-to-earth person I've ever met in my life for what she's done. And so she is super cool. She is actually our Friday closing keynote. Super awesome person, super cool what she's done. And just honestly, a woman in agriculture, girl that living on a farm, just had a dream. And so it was really cool to kind of sit down, hear her story, what she's done. And really coming together as well. Our 2 other keynotes, our opening keynote on Thursday is Mr. David Gold. He's fantastic as well. He's a visiting professor at the University of Iowa, most inspiring person I've ever sat through something with for an hour. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I am ready to take on the world. And so he's fantastic as well. He'll be our opening keynote, get really everybody pumped up, inspired for Iowa Ideas. And then we actually, our third keynote is Mr. Thomas App. He wrote the book Bleeding Out. He's a New York bestseller as well, and he will be our Friday opening keynote to talk through lots of things about diversity, equity, inclusion, all those great things like that. And he's really, really an awesome guy as well. So our 3 keynotes this year are fantastic. And again, from all over the United States. Thomas App right now is living on the East Coast. Miss Peggy Whitson is living obviously in Texas. And then David Gold is here locally in Iowa as well. So it's just a really cool opportunity to really get these keynotes together, really build Iowa Ideas around what they do, what they inspire, and seeing what they kind of come to be. As Quinn is clicking on 2021 schedule, really the schedule is really well blocked out. We are really moving forward with everything. Panelists are coming together. So if you come back to this, honestly, this afternoon, there will be a lot of panelists on this, as well as we've been building out the last 2 weeks and getting everything really wrapped up. And so there's some great sessions all throughout the day. But what Quinn said, the cool thing about staying virtual and the cool thing about what we do is that you get to choose your schedule. So if you find something that you absolutely love, an energy environment, and then you want to hop over to healthcare because you're just you have a mom that's a nurse and wants to learn something about what's going on in a policy, or you want to learn something that's going on in community development because you live in that community and the panelists are from your community. There's a really cool way to do that and mix your schedule up and build your schedule. And so the next part of this that we have kept as well is Whova, which is our online platform that we do for the full conference. There's such great things in Whova that you can do. Register, build your conference schedule from there as well. There's icebreaker questions, there's community conversations. There's so many great things that you can do. And also the cool thing is that you can connect with panelists right after the conference, before the conference, all those great things like that. You can ask them questions about what they're going to talk about. There's really great connecting, networking ways to get involved in that as well. And the nice thing is our Whova app is live as well. So you get to start those things well before the conference even gets started and really see that kind of really pull together as well. And that's where you watch live, all right there from your screen, all those good things like that. There's Q&A. There's chat box, you can chat with others during the session, all those great things like that. So lots of great things that are happening throughout the conference as well in that day and a half. Sorry, there's a lot of great info and that I'm making sure I don't miss. The only other thing that we've added new and fun is that we actually, is our community conversation blocks at the end of Friday. So those start at 12:15 and go to 1:15. And what we did is that we wanted our attendees to be able to go to a place, go to a session where they get to kind of debrief and all those good things. As an event planner, we see this all the time, right? Attendees, they soak it all in, but it's hard as a virtual platform to kind of take that information and debrief and be like, okay, like what do we do with this information? So we wanted our end of the session, community conversation, big ideas sessions to be that place for our attendees, but also our panelists, our keynotes, different people like that, where they get to come in, have those conversations with fellow peers that are maybe in the same realm, maybe in the same workplace, different things like that, where they got to kind of take that information that inspired them and they get to build a plan. They get to kind of talk with people like, oh yeah, we're doing this already. You guys should do this. Or, oh yeah, I really like that idea. Maybe we can implement that in the next 6 months and what we do. So we have everything from Shop Iowa, healthcare worker challenges, derecho recovery, the future of healthcare, lots of different big idea social blocks that we get to come together and have those community conversations with. So that's kind of some of the really nitty gritty stuff of what we gotten into in 2021. Lots of great things to come in the next month and a half. So make sure to get registered. I know Quinn's gonna talk about this too. There's lots of great things and lots of great information going out the door right now as well. So yeah, we're excited. We're pumped.
And Chelsea's done a fantastic job getting, again, it's no easy task to, even though we've got the help of advisory council members and track leads, to actually extend invitations and manage over 200 speakers is no simple task. And we've already booked, we're already about 80% of the way there. If you check out the schedule, I'm particularly excited about the big idea, the Friday afternoon gathering. We did it kind of last minute last year, and it ended up being really well received. So as Chelsea mentioned, because these sessions are virtual, it's kind of a classroom style, from an attendee perspective. And this gives you the opportunity to actually communicate what's moved you and who you want to connect with from the conference to really get some ideas put into action. And that's the one common thread of everybody that attends Iowa Ideas. It's not just about soaking in the information. Attendees are doers. So as far as next steps, one, get registered because you do have 55 sessions to choose from, and just taking in and reading up on what the sessions are all about and who the speakers are going to be. You're going to spend a couple days doing that. So I recommend that you register now so that you can start to build out your schedule way in advance. The other reason that we were getting everybody to schedule or to register ahead of time is that communication is going to start here about 4 weeks out, where we're going to be sending you reminders. We're going to give you instructions on how to make the most out of your Whova experience and make sure that you get your directory all up to speed and you're able to connect with people. And we've got some viewing party / Thursday night social opportunities that we want to send to everybody as well. So iowaideas.com, that's the website, and that's our story. So
Woohoo!
questions, comments,
Lots of info.
Are
lots to
the
take in.
are the any of the meetings like duplicated? Like you can go to the same meeting twice, or is it every single meeting on healthcare or every single meeting on whatever? Are they any of them different, or are they ever the same thing? So like, or are you no matter what miss content throughout the whole thing? Like if there's two things that are overlapping, you can't go to both of them.
That is the number one on the surveys is, gosh, there was like 3 sessions I wanted to go to at once and I couldn't get to them all. So no, we don't duplicate any sessions during the actual conference because we have so many different topics that we try to funnel down. But we do record and post every single session so that if somebody misses one or wants to check out the other, you're able to go back and you can take in every session that you want. And when we do that instantly, just to make sure if somebody missed something on Thursday and they want to take it in so that they can talk about it on Friday, they're able to do that.
Good question.
No other questions. Anybody been to Iowa Ideas on this call? Erin has. Erin, from your perspective, not to put you on the spot, Erin, but you'll forgive me.
Yeah.
From an attendee perspective, like what were your thoughts? It was last year that you went? No.
Yes.
Okay.
It was last year. I honestly can't remember if I went the year before. I feel like I registered for it, but I don't remember attending. It's kind of strange, right? No, I think that it's great. It's a wealth of information. Who is a great platform. It really is. And I think that you guys always do a stellar job. So, and it just seems to get better and better. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Checks in the mail, Erin. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, man. Mama needs a new pair of shoes.
Yeah, David, go ahead.
So the two days for the October dates, I'm actually out on one of my tours, and so I won't actually be here for them. But since they are uploaded, how would I have access to that? Do I still register, just not actually attend, and then get the recordings, or how would that work?
Still register because what we'll do is we'll send you direct messaging when the recordings are done.
Okay.
I mean, you can certainly go to Iowa Ideas and kind of check here and there, but I mean, life happens and you get busy. So definitely register and we'll send you that.
Okay. Yeah, we're on a tour to Indiana the 13th, 14th, 15th, so I won't be around. So
you can tune in. You can tune in from anywhere. That's the beauty of it. Dennis
As of
and
right
Susan
now, I'm
Putter
driving
for my
the tour,
parents.
so
They were watching.
I won't be able to do that drive, but
that's true.
all right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. Any other questions? It's tough, even in the 40 minutes that we took to map everything out. It's tough to truly explain it without going through it. And I'm just really excited and proud of how many different topics and different perspectives we're going to be bringing this year. So yeah, just check it out and let us know what comments, questions you have. But get registered now.
So I guess I could pipe up. Other than the keynotes, what are the top 3 sessions you're looking forward to?
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
That's like picking a favorite child. Like that's just tough. Well, so I'm actually the track lead for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as Chelsea mentioned, that is not a standalone track. There's actually DEI sessions within every other track. And so I'm particularly proud and excited about those pieces. Outdated systems and housing is one that I'm actually really looking forward to, not because not because of the given, current situation, but I just think it's such an important topic, housing and living accommodations. The other one I'm excited about is changes in criminal justice procedures. So I think that there's quite a bit within policy that's going to be pretty eye-opening for people. And that's one that, especially from a panelist perspective, we're going to get a lot of different perspective and good conversations. So that's mine. I don't know, Chelsea, if you have any.
Yes. I know I got some, and mine are kind of funny in just my realm of world. But being part of agriculture, right? We get to really talk about water quality. So we have a session that's Iowa's water supply with ag runoff strategies. So that's something really interesting. I actually come from my father is a hog farmer. He's a 4th generation, and so it's really interesting getting kind of those people together and really having some strategies of what even other communities are doing, other states are doing. To better that and what we can do to better our community for that. Obviously, we have more pigs than humans in Iowa, and so which is kind of crazy to think about. So it's really interesting to talk through that. My other one is probably community development, just because I am moving that way, is the outlook of rural Iowa and what that outlook looks like as a community and what we can do to build that as well. Those are probably my 2 big ones that I'm really excited about. The third one that's really interesting and really intriguing, it's really getting it's been in the news and all the things, is probably the energy storage and rise of solar. We have a really great panel for that can talk a lot about what solar is and all those good things. My husband actually works on residential solar. And so it's really interesting to kind of see his perspective, and then obviously, Alliant, and there's so many people in that world that can really talk to that and really give a really cool perspective of that too. On both sides. So those are kind of my 3 in all honesty. So mine would kind of touch energy and environment and community development. So
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Any other questions from our group?
Quiet crowd today.
Yeah.
They don't even know what hit them. They're like, what
You guys are
is
just
happening?
so thorough with your information. There are no questions.
Exactly. That's what I have no questions. It was all beautifully done. So sounds like a fantastic program. Love the ideas. Looking forward to it. What else can you say?
Great.
I was
Thank
gonna say,
you.
if
Get
there-
registered, get a group together, get a viewing party put on registration, because we're going to be connecting viewing parties as well. And
was
we'll
gonna
see you in
s-
October.
I was going to say, we have a traditional final question here at 1 Million Cups Iowa City. What can we as the community do to help you?
Get registered and tell other people to register. The number one thing that people are not aware of is the fact that it is free.
Mhm.
And there's a little bit of hesitation to that. So as far as like the quality of the event, some people take the route of like, oh, so you get what you pay for. This is not a cheap event to host or to put on by any means, but we're just really fortunate to have sponsors that are committed to the idea that we want this to be as inclusive as possible. So it's a high quality event, but we did not want registration fees to be a barrier to all Iowans experiencing this. So help spread the word.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much. I've learned a lot. I didn't know the history or any of that stuff. So it looks like a great thing for our local folks to get involved with and get signed up for. So definitely go register. And it's great that you're recording all the stuff, because I know I personally am going to be busy those days, but I am going to sign up so I can watch the recordings later, because just briefly looking through the list of stuff that's going to be talked about, and it's some fantastic topics. So definitely thank you, Quinn, and Chelsea. Thank you so much for joining us today, and